Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report with head coach Brian Bergstrom. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here on TV 25. We are coming to you from the 111 Riverfront building in downtown Winona, and we are brought to you by Russell and Associates. And Coach Bergstrom, first game, first win. Now, you've gone through hundreds of games in your career, thousands of practices, but what was Saturday like for you heading into the game, knowing that really kind of all eyes were going to be on you as the head coach?
Well, it was a fun day, that's for sure. I think it really hit me in pregame when I walked out onto the field that this was going to be my first game as a head coach, and there's no way around it. It's a special moment, you know. Been coaching for 19 years, and this has been a dream, and the dream, you know, was realized in more of a formal way with a game, but ultimately, what was fun about the day is our guys and how well they stuck together and played hard, and ultimately the day is about them. And I get lots of football seasons in my life. They get so few to play, and just really excited about how they came out in the first game.
All right, let's go ahead and start talking about the game and talk about the beginning, because Minot kind of jumped out a little bit.
Yep.
The Warrior offense didn't convert on the first series. Minot gets the ball, they end up scoring a touchdown. What's going through your head at that point? I mean, I know it's early, it's only one touchdown, but
Right.
Still it had to be a little bit disappointing at the beginning.
Yeah, I think all week we preached that we're going to face adversity. So we had an opportunity right away to face adversity, and you know, we fumbled in the first drive and gave it back. You know, offensively gave it back to them, and they were able to go down and score. So then we had a choice to make, and how are we going to respond? And the biggest thing that I was excited and proud of our guys for a lot of things and how they played. But the biggest thing is the maturity that they showed. They stuck together, they stayed composed, and so did our coaches. And we preached that, practiced that all fall camp, and it was fun to see that come to fruition, because they didn't panic and were just fine. And those ended up being really the only 8 points that the defense allowed the whole game, because the other one was a safety. So, and then the offense got it rolling too. So
Yeah. Now you said 8 points because Minot goes for 2 on the first touchdown of the season. Were you surprised to see that? And if you were, what was that like as a coaching situation?
Well, sometimes people on an extra point, they'll align in kind of a unique formation and kind of count up how many defenders you put based off where they put their, we call it pods, where they put their guys. And we were numbered up. We had enough defensive guys on each side, but they basically look at it and say, do we like the fake here? Mm-hmm. And had they not liked the look, then they would have brought the lineman in. They would have kicked the extra point. So it's something that teams do. I was a little surprised that it was on the first one, and we had enough guys there. We just the guy fell forward into the end zone as we were tackling him. So that's football.
Okay. And then your team kind of bounced back after that. Trevor Paulson found Cooper Nelson for a touchdown, and you didn't elect to go for 2. Talk us through that a little bit.
I think early in the game, you pay less attention to the actual points and chasing points, and we were just going to take the touchdown, the extra point. Had it been late in the game, certainly, and you had to tie the game, you're going to make different decisions. But with how early it was, we knew we would score again. We knew we would play good defense and rebound, and that's what we did.
All right. Ty Gavin, not too long after that, had a big run, 81 yards. Talk about that run and about how Ty performed during the game.
You know, I was proud of Ty because Ty fumbled on the first drive. He fumbled again, and we got it back early in the game, but he rebounded and had a bunch of rushing yards, obviously, and that play was one of them. And the ball, we started around the 2-yard line offensively, so we were backed up, and we practiced that situation in practice on purpose. So multiple times throughout fall camp, we call it backed up, and we're working on playing offense and playing defense in that field zone. And that's exactly what we did, is we got it up. The goal is to get a first down offensively. Just get a first down. We obviously got the first down and much more. And proud of how he rebounded and had a great day.
So what is your philosophy on mistakes? Different coaches treat them different. Some coaches, you make a mistake while you're on the bench for a while, or you get sit. Do you talk to players after something like that happens on the sidelines? How do you do that?
Yeah, I think it's never just a black and white answer. The coaching is it's scientific and strategic, but it's also subjective, and you need to take each situation as its own situation. So we talked Ty knew that he fumbled the ball. We don't need to remind him of that. We'll just remind him of the coaching points and what to do next time, and that we believed in him. And he showed why that approach was the right way that day. Had it been a different scenario, a day, maybe we would have handled it differently. But I think each one you deal with a little bit differently. But we're going to believe in our guys, and mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing hard and you're putting it all out there, you're going to make mistakes. But how do we recover from the mistakes? And obviously we want to minimize them, but we're not going to be perfect. We just need to make progress every day.
Is that the same philosophy then with penalties, or is it determined on what the penalty was?
Yeah, it's determined on what the penalty is. I mean, if a guy gets a penalty because he's playing hard and it's a penalty within the play, it's going to happen. If it's unsportsmanlike penalties or things that are totally within their control or repeated, jumping off sides or something like that, then maybe we pull them out of the game. But if a lineman gets a holding call, we're not going to pull him out of the game unless it becomes a repeat issue.
All right. For Trevor Paulson, it was his first start, and from the statistics, it looked like he did very well. Obviously, had a couple touchdown passes. Tell us a little bit about what you saw in his performance.
I think he performed well, certainly in his first game, and you see that statistically. I think where he did his best work was in leading the offense, keeping them composed, cheering for the defense when they were done with their offensive huddle on the sideline, and doing what a leader does. Mm-hmm. And quarterback, by the nature of it, there's privileges to be the quarterback of a football team, right? But there's immense responsibility. And he shouldered that really well. And we remind our guys all the time, it doesn't matter if you're a captain or you're on leadership council or you're a freshman or everywhere in between. We'll all have a platform to lead, and he certainly has a platform, and he did a good job of leading on Saturday as well as playing well.
Tell us a little bit about the pooch punt play. What happened in that situation? So
we had struggled on a couple snaps. So our starting snapper, Morgan White, was out for the week, and our backup Gato had done a great job and did a good job at the beginning and at the end, just struggled with a couple in the middle. And so we were at a field area where we felt like we could maybe go for it on fourth down. We hadn't decided, but we also know that Trevor can punt. And the positive thing about that is if the quarterback's out there, usually they don't put a returner back there, so you're just able to kick it and let it roll. And he had a good kick, and proud of him for responding in that way too.
We got to talk a little bit about the defense, even though we're kind of running low on time here in this segment. But I want to talk about Clay Scheffner because he had an amazing game. A big number, 16 or 17 tackles, I think it was, during the game. Tell us a little bit about what you saw in him.
Clay is kind of our alpha dog on defense and the leader and the heartbeat, and he's in the middle. He's a middle linebacker, so he has the advantage of being close to a lot of plays because you're never too far away as the middle linebacker compared to an outside linebacker or corner on the other side of the field. And he's a great tackler, and he has a nose for the football, plays with good instinct, and that's what you saw him do 17 times, and proud of him.
And I think that was one more than the leader in the NSIC last year, which was 16 during a game, so that's pretty exciting. What about the rest of the defense? How did the rest of the defense play?
I've seen a lot of football first games and coached a lot of defense, and I would put the defense's performance in terms of their effort and tackling, because sometimes you don't tackle live in practice a ton. Mm-hmm. The first opportunity you have to do it all day is in a game, and they tackled really well, and they played with great effort, and they as well didn't lose their cool when we gave up a touchdown or when the offense threw an interception. They just came back out and said, offense, we got you, or we'll respond to this challenge. They had 2 goal line stands, keeping 0 points on the board. That was huge. And we didn't get any sacks, but we had the quarterback on the ground 12 times. And proud of how they played for sure.
Overall grade that you would give the team from this performance?
If I were to put a letter grade on it, I think it's we for the first game we played a solid B, B minus, and I'm excited, but I just know we can play so much better. And if I were to tell the guys that I graded their performance at an A, they would want me to challenge them more, and so would I, and they're used to that. So we celebrate all wins, but we're not satisfied. We got to get better, and we got to respond to success now. So you win a game, human nature, you're not quite as focused the next week compared to losing a game. So now we're fully locked in on University of Mary, who's a great team.
All right, yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about Mary towards the end of the show, but right now we're going to take a break on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll get the player perspective. Tyler Anderson will join us first, right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're at the 111 Riverfront Studios in downtown Winona, and we're brought to you by Russell and Associates. I'm now to talk a little bit more about the offense with wide receiver Tyler Anderson. Thanks for joining us here today.
Happy to be here.
So you're a graduate student. You haven't played since 2019 because of injuries, because of COVID. What kept you around here at Winona State for all those years leading up to this year?
I would say first and foremost, just I love football, and football has been a great avenue for me to challenge myself and just really find out like what I have inside of me, and it's brought me some of the best relationships I have in this world. So like all those things kind of combined just made it no question that I wanted to come back and keep playing. And I've worked really hard over the years to get to this point, and felt like going out in 2019 just wasn't doing myself justice. I felt like I had some stuff I wanted to show people, and wanted to show people how hard I've been working and how far I'd come. So yeah.
All right. Now, obviously, Coach, you want guys that love football, and if you're playing at this level, you love football. But for somebody to come back after not having played for a while, what does that say to you about the person, and what has Tyler shown to you?
Yeah, I think it shows me much more than who he is as a football player. It shows me his heart, and right from the beginning, even when I was interviewing for the job, it was before he had left for his internship, so he was involved in that process. And I could just see his passion for Winona State, his passion for football, his passion to go out the right way. And then we had a time where we would talk on the phone occasionally, but then he was gone at his internship at University of Tennessee, strength and conditioning in the spring. And what I've seen in the last few months, really, throughout the summer and the fall is what I thought. A great leader, a great person, great work ethic, and it was really rewarding, certainly for Tyler, but for me to see him score a touchdown on Saturday, and the passion that he was able to celebrate that with, because so much time had been put into the game.
Well, let's talk about that. I was going to go in a different direction, but since that's brought up, so really the only statistical play that you had was the sweep that ends up in a 6-yard touchdown. Tell us a little bit about that play and what that was like for you.
Just kind of starting at the beginning. As soon as I got the signal from the sideline in my head, I'm like, you got to score on this. Like, knew I was probably getting the ball. We'd scored on a play similar to that earlier in the game, so I was just really excited. But kind of just as soon as I got the ball and cleared the defensive end, I saw the angle and just knew it was a race to the pylon. And as soon as I crossed that goal line, it was just kind of just trying to calm myself down. Coach has this, we always talk about playing at your number, and it talks about like how ramped up you need to be in order to perform at your best. And I'm more of a quiet-natured person a little bit. I'm not a screamer or a yeller, but like at that point, I just wanted to punt the ball and just freak out. So I was just kind of trying to bring myself down, and Coach Fichte made the comment that he thought I was going to hug him on the sidelines. And I'd been through a ton in the last 2 years, and from COVID and having the injury and being told that it was usually career ending, just there was a lot of days where I didn't know if I was going to get back to that point. So it was really a great feeling as I crossed that goal line and was able to celebrate with my teammates. A really good feeling.
So this weekend's a home game against Mary, and obviously with that behind you and heading back towards Maxwell Field, what do you think Saturday is going to be like for you to be back out on the field again?
I think it's going to be awesome. Just like the atmosphere that we have when we play at home is second to none. I mean, the Warrior Walk, and when you get the fans in Maxwell it feels like people are right on top of you. Like, it really is a one-of-a-kind experience, and it's a special place to play in. And I just can't wait to be back in that atmosphere and be on the field. Home games were definitely a lot harder to watch last fall than away games, and I think it was probably good for us to start on the road just so I had a game to kind of get back into things. And like that first half was one of the weirder halves for me in my career. Just kind of needed to get back into that game flow, but it was good being on the road because there's less distractions. You get on the bus and you're going on a business trip, and it's kind of just you and the guys. But I'm excited to be back at home in front of all our fans and my family and everything like that this weekend.
All right, last question for you. You're named a captain again this year, so you're a two-time captain. How do you find out about being a captain, and what does it mean to you, not only the second time around being a captain, but in your last season being a captain?
Yeah, so we found out during fall camp at a team meeting. Coach Bergie announced all the captains and brought us up in front of the team, and that was at like the first point this season that we had established the captains. Similar to last year, it was a really, really good feeling just to be thought of and looked at that way by your teammates. But for me, it meant a little bit more this year, I would say, after being hurt last year and being gone in the spring for an internship. It's tough not being around the team, and especially when you're hurt, you feel like you're not like in there as much, you're not doing what the guys are doing. So just to know that the guys still looked up to me and believed in me, I guess is why they voted me captain. Like, that was a really good feeling and just helped my confidence coming back, and just it made me just even more excited to get out there and play with them, because I told the guys, like, we knew Coach Sawyer was leaving and we didn't know what was going to happen with the rest of the staff, or didn't even know who Coach Bergie was, but I told the team, like, after game one last year, I was coming back to play with them, and I believed in this team and the players that we had. So for them to look at me that way is a really good feeling.
All right, well, I appreciate the time here today, and looking forward to seeing you back out there on Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and we're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, we will talk with Luke Lashinsky from the defense right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25 from the 111 Riverfront Building in downtown Winona. We're brought to you by Russell and Associates, and now we're joined by Luke Lashinsky. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, a captain this year.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that. We asked Tyler what it was like when he found out. What was it like when you found out that you were a captain?
When I found out, it was, I felt very honored that my teammates respected me in that way and saw me as a leader on the team. We went through a lot this summer over the last season, obviously, as well, with Coach Sawyer retiring and not really knowing throughout the month of December and right into the new year of, who was going to be leading the charge. So it was good to have the support of the team, and hopefully I can, keep that going throughout the season.
All right. What do you know about Luke, and what have you seen in the practices and in the game last week?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know Luke loves his teammates, and he loves Winona State, and he's passionate, and he's high energy, and he's one of those people that brings other people the gift of his energy, because it elevates a whole room, and that's, like I've told him before, that's a gift that he can bring other people, and it's a personality trait, but he brings it into football too. And a quick story about how he brought energy and positivity and belief in me. We had our very first Zoom meeting as a team, like right when I got hired, and that's a somewhat awkward way to meet your team, but it was the only way we could do it. I was in South Dakota, they were there, and I wanted to get in front of them. And it's more one-sided because it's Zoom, but then after, Luke texted and just said how excited the guys were about the direction it seems like we're going to go. And that right there, I knew at that point I had one, I had one with me. And you talk about a culture buying in. He's one of the drivers of the culture being bought into here. And him and the other captains and our leaders, and couldn't be more blessed to have Luke be a captain.
All right, so what's it like to come into this year with the different coaching staff? I know Coach Curtin is still there, and there's still a lot of players from last year that are still there. But what is it like for you to have to maybe learn a new system and learn things over again?
Yeah, with Coach Curtin coming back, it was good to have that one steady stone that was throughout my whole career. Same kind of mindset defensively where, we take it one play at a time, and, we embrace challenge, and we want to set the tone of every game. So mindset and everything was the same. What differed was the playbook and the scheme. I thought defensive line-wise and defensively we picked up on it very well, adapted really well, and we responded pretty well last week. We got to keep that going throughout the season, though.
All right, tell us a little bit about last week and the play against Minot and what it was like to get back out on the field again.
Yeah, it felt great to finally play a game. I have to say that. Like I was saying before, the full off season, it leads up to 11 guaranteed games, and it felt good to finally be out there on a Saturday playing another team instead of our own offense. But defensively last week, we were faced with a couple challenges, but we prepared really well throughout fall camp for those challenges, those sudden changes. And I think that preparation during fall camp really led to us not feeling panicked, not feeling worried, but saw the sudden changes as an opportunity to change the game again. And I thought our defense responded really well. We played together as a unit very well. So, got to keep it going.
All right, as Coach said, against Minot, you didn't get any sacks, but you did get pressure on the quarterback and you got knockdowns.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like in the trenches trying to go after the quarterback last week.
Yeah, we didn't really – week one's always interesting. You never really know exactly how their offensive line is going to be, how offensive scheme is going to be. So you got to learn it as the game goes on. It's hard to prep for a game one technique-wise. The quarterback hits aren't the greatest stat sheet. They don't fill up a stat sheet, but they definitely change a game. I believe we had 18 quarterback hits as a defense total. And that you could tell by the end of the game the quarterback was feeling it. That changes how he plays, how he protects himself. So that's a big game changer in the game. There weren't many sacks, but quarterback hits are just as good sometimes. So.
All right, and then as we said, next week, home game against Mary. What is it like for you to start another home season and to get back out in Maxwell Field?
Yeah, I love playing at the Max. It's, in my opinion, it's the best atmosphere in the conference. Crowd is right on top of you. Our student section is loud. It packs up. It overfills. So they're always banging on the walls. It's the best place to play in the SIC. I can't wait to start a home opener. I know our students are going to pack it, and I know our families are going to pack it as well and come out with a good game for you.
All right. And then did you stick with refereeing?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Peyton and I are still reffing. We love doing that. So.
Very good. Well, we'll see Peyton down the line because he's another one of the captains, and so it was good to see you do that, and it was good to see you again this week.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break on Warrior Report, and when we come back, we will talk with Coach Bergstrom about the game against the University of Mary this weekend. Right after this. welcome back to Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25 from the 111 Riverfront Studios, and we are brought to you by Russell and Associates. So, Coach Bergstrom, I've asked the players what it's going to be like for their first home game. Obviously, it's a little bit different for you. What do you anticipate it'll be like for your first home game as head coach?
Well, I think what the guys said is what I'm anticipating because they know best. I know game at Maxwell as an opponent, coaching as a defensive coordinator at Augustana for 4 years, and I always respected the program, Coach Sawyer, the way they played, and then the environment. It was there's something unique about the setup of the stadium and fans on top, and it was a hard place to play as an opponent. So I'm looking forward to that, and we're also going to be really coaching our guys this week too on the challenges of playing at home, because there are more distractions and there are more people in town and there are more things going on during the week and on Friday night and family in town, and there's just, it's much easier to get a group to focus on the road because you're on a bus, you're in the hotel together, you're eating every meal together, and now they're living their life a little bit more. So we're ecstatic to play at home, but there's challenges to playing at home too. So we're going to make sure that we're ready for them.
Okay, so University of Mary, they ended up losing to Wayne State last weekend. What do you know about them, and how do you prepare for them this week?
I know that they're an athletic team. They're a team that can score a lot of points. They're a team that presents some personnel and some schematic challenges. They're very well coached, and they play hard. And you could see it in many of their games last year. They're a few plays away in a lot of games from winning a lot more games. And same thing last week. So it'll be a great test. They're a good team.
Okay, and do you make any changes after what you saw in the team actually on the field last week against Minot, or is that pretty much the way that you thought that the team would play?
I anticipated our team would respond to adversity, and that if we score 24 points, we should win the game like we did. If we only give up 8 on defense, we should win the game. So I don't see a huge amount of, we got to overhaul this scheme on offense or defense happening by any means. We're going to practice in a very similar way because we believe in how we practice, and we believe it's about the process. The game is the outcome of, it's just a byproduct of the work we've done all week or all year, and that's really what a game is. So our work as coaches is really done, last night we had our meetings and a walkthrough, and then we'll practice today and tomorrow and all the way through the week. And then by game day, the bulk of our work is done, and then it's the players getting to play a game. So.
And you're continuing the kind of public face of Warrior football by inviting the public to an event on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes, we're on Thursdays. We call it Warrior Watch at 11:45 to about 1 or 12:45 or 1 when people need to leave at the Riverport Hotel. There's a lunch included for $10 if you want, but that's optional. And really what it is a chance for me to recap the last game, preview the upcoming game, and then there will always be, like last week it was the captains, the 6 captains. This week it'll be Coach Frichte and a couple quarterbacks. And then the next week it'll be Coach Curtin and a couple of DBs. So by position throughout the year gives that coach a chance to address the group and our guys to get up and talk about themselves and just kind of a peek behind the curtain of some of our thought processes and watching some film and help us get to know our fans better.
All right, well, very good. And thank you for the time again this week, and good luck at home against Mary on Saturday.
Appreciate it, Justin.
All right, and thank you for watching us here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next week here on the Warrior Report.